We are back again for another edition of the Dirty and Driven Podcast. My name is James Devaney. I am your host on this fine, beautiful Tuesday, if you're listening to it the day it drops. If not, whatever day that ends in Y that you're listening. This is the Dirty and Driven Podcast, where we bring people to the blue-collar world, teach them how to kick ass. Our goal here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hard-working people in the blue-collar trades. As always, I'm joined by the man, the myth, Mr. Float Around and Find Out, KCD.
How are you?
We're here to bring you the jams.
So you can switch cameras now with your mouse?
I've always been able to switch cameras.
I thought you've been doing it with that push button over there.
Well, I do usually do it with the push button.
All right. Well, you said I've always...
I usually do it with the push button, yes.
Okay.
But the push button's out of order right now.
All right.
We're doing something different. But guys, welcome back. You may have noticed, and some of you even hit us up, hey, there was no episode last Friday. Well, we're changing up how we do things around here, at least for a while we just kind of figure some stuff out and figure out how can we bring you the best quality podcast possible. That's what we want to do, and we think that right now focusing on one episode a week is how we can do that. Just one episode, high quality. Sometimes we'll have a guest. Sometimes we won't. We will always have a show every single week without fail. We have not missed a Tuesday episode ever since we said that we were going to start doing them. Have we, Casey?
Zero misses.
Zero misses. We've had close calls. There was a Tuesday we were in here one day, and I'm pointing at you that
And it was it on a Tuesday? Literal?
We recorded it at like Tuesday at like 5 p.m. and
I don't know if a lot of people know, but a lot of times we pre-record these. We're pulling back the curtain a little bit, but we pre-record these before Tuesday, then we release them on Tuesdays.
I'm pretty sure people understand how that part works. I would think. They don't think that they're not like tuned into a radio station, the Dirty and Driven radio station. But yeah, we're just trying to bring you guys the best format. Time's been an issue lately, and thankfully we've got a lot going on the business side of things here at Dirty and Driven, and we need to focus on that and focus on those people that are wanting us and relying on us to help them build their training programs, help them establish their core values and all that good stuff. We're going to get into more of that here in a minute on kind of just a refresher on what we do. But we're going to try a few things out. We're going to have different segments. We're going to talk about, maybe some construction news. We're going to bring on some really cool people and only, we'll bring a guest on whenever we have just an awesome guest. And not that any of our guests haven't been awesome, because every single one of them has been great. Sometimes it's just really hard to find a guest every single week and make schedules work and align, and also do a Tuesday episode and self-produce all this stuff. So it's just a lot, and so we're just going to take a step back so that we can just bring you guys the best, most baddest ass podcast that we possibly can.
Yeah, and honestly, with a lot of guests that we have, they're not in-house guests, so we're trying to iron out all the kinks with the remote issues that can arise compared to being in-house. So that's what we're working on.
Yeah, and we're going to try and get more in-person guests too, as we can. I mean, that's the beauty, is now we have the patience to, if somebody's coming to our area or wants to come to our studio, then we can work that out with them a little bit better. Or like I said, we can just take the time to really make sure that if it is a remote one, then it's the best audio quality, video quality, everything like that. I mean, it's just all fun. So if you guys have any things that you'd want to hear, see, listen to, hit us up. I mean, just because you give us an idea doesn't mean we're going to try it, but we are open to any suggestions or feedback that you guys have. A lot of people said, we put out a poll on Instagram, and pretty much the overwhelming majority was more James and KCD. So I'd say that's a compliment right there, man.
There you go.
There you go. You're a megastar.
From who? Who says?
The people who listen to this show.
The people. All right.
The people.
Yeah.
People's host.
Yeah.
People's champion. So yeah. Anyways, man.
You gave a shout out to my shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your float around and find out. That's back from the old Chinese weather balloon or whatever the fuck that was all about.
That was shot down when it finally went all the way across the U.S.
That was a weird deal, man.
Yeah.
I still don't. I still smell some fish on that story, but I was just in that area of the world, the old DC area,
East Coast.
What
were you doing there?
We'll get to some of that. I was visiting our friends at Plateau Excavation in Georgia, and then we went to DC just for shits and gigs. Actually, you ever sat through a timeshare presentation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
down when I was in Cancun.
Yeah, dude. So, God bless my wife. So she goes, hey, Hilton called me because she travels for work. She travels for work. And, oh, dude, I had the time of my life with this damn timeshare presentation. She travels a lot for work. So she got Hilton Gold status because of that, especially because last year, whenever she was still working in New Orleans, they had a hurricane. And so they sent her down to Houston to work for a couple weeks to help with hurricane relief planning at the refinery she was working at that got hit pretty hard by 2 hurricanes. And so she got Hilton Gold status. So then it turned into, if you come and you sit, you do this 2-hour timeshare presentation, you'll get $100 you only pay $100 for a hotel of your choice between it's like DC, Vegas, and somewhere else, Florida maybe, I don't know. And she's like, well, I've never been to DC. Let's go to DC. I said, okay, cool with me. I'm down for that. So, so we book it and everything. And I mean, hell, just for the $100 weekend, I mean, that's worth it. I mean, now we spent an absorbent amount on everything else around it, food wise.
Travel to get there.
Yeah, I mean, our flights weren't terrible, but food, dude. Holy shit, man. Everywhere was just so expensive to eat. And we didn't even go to like the super nice places, but it was all good. So it was fun. But then they also gave, they also promised all these other rewards that were hidden behind red tape and all sorts of shit. Like, it was like, we got a $200, it was supposed to be a $200 like Visa gift card at the end of the presentation. Well, what it is, it's a $200 mail-in rebate if you book a room at the hotel that they choose. And they make you choose, do you want to do like Hilton Garden Inn, Embassy Suites, Hampton Inn? Like, they don't just make it to where it's all Hilton hotels. And you can't change it. So it's there's a lot of fine line. But anyways, the salesmen are like required to keep it there like 2 hours. But I had us out of there in an hour and 15 minutes because I just walked in there with the deal of like, okay, obviously we're not going to buy a timeshare or be part of their ownership program, as they call it. Oh, dude, I was pissing this guy off because it was like, and I told Victoria, I said, I think it's a rite of passage. I think that to become an official adult, at some point you have to sit through a timeshare meeting, right? Oh, yeah. I don't know anybody who hasn't at least sat through one for some thing. They butter you up, and so we sit through it, and the guy's real nice and all that, but it starts getting to like the hour mark, and we're still going, and they have it down to the science, man. The questions they ask you, even at one point, like the hour 15, whenever people kind of start zoning out and nodding off, they start blaring Christmas music in the offices and stuff. But I mean, down to the decor, what the salesmen were wearing. I mean, just everything you could tell. Like if you did not know sales and you didn't understand how this stuff worked, I mean, it just was perfectly staged, But yeah, it kind of got down to the point where he's like, how nice does this look, guys? I said, yeah, it looks nice. Cut to the chase, man. Yeah. What's it cost? I said, I can already tell you we're not interested. And, and I'm being nice and respectful. He's mostly being nice and respectful. But finally, just to get the guy to shut up, I was like, hey, man, because he's like, well, you guys travel this many nights a year. You said you did. And like, we looked at your records on the Hilton stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, all of those were work days. They were all work paid for days. Yeah. And then he's like you just kind of see this blow. And then I was like, he's like, but you say you like travel and you'll stay in Airbnbs and stuff like that. I was like, yep, man. I go on vacation with my parents all the time. They pay for it. And, you know, it's just telling him this shit just to get him to shut up.
Yeah.
He wasn't buying it, but somebody's blaring some rap music.
And did they try to bring in the closer?
They didn't bring in a different person.
Yeah.
But they do they kind of take you to this other room where you do like this exit surveys, they called it. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of insult you the whole time. They just like give you like, it's like this real passive aggressive girl working the counter. And she's got like a tablet and she's just like, okay. And did we go ahead and get, sign up for the rewards today or the ownership program or whatever the fuck they call it? No. Okay, and is there a specific reason why? And we're like, yeah, it's just not relevant to us. It's not usable. And she's like, well, okay, what about like, you know, financial? I was like, yeah, it's too expensive. We don't want to fuck with, you know, we don't want to pay. It was like $60,000 and with like heavy finance charges and crap like that. It was stupid. And so I was like, she goes, okay, can't afford it. Don't know why they called you if you can't afford it. She's like that. Like Victoria was pissed hearing that part. Finally, I just had to tell the dude, I was like, look, man, I'm a businessman. I've got a business. I said, we both work full-time jobs. We're trying to start a business. I was like, I said, I'm dumping my money into my business. I'm not doing it with your stupid timeshare.
I'm sure they have a flow chart built up to where, you know, is it financial? Yes, you go here. No, you go here. Then it splits off for each little thing that you say. Then, okay, then you say this if they said that.
Oh, dude, this guy, he first of all, you could tell it was scripted. You know, it was like, like it wasn't him droning on and on and on. It was like, well, tell me about this. Tell me about your dream vacations. And like, you know, you go in and like probably every 20 minutes he gets up. He's like, oh, let me just go grab whatever. And like, you can tell he's just like chilling for a minute, just like giving you a second to like talk and like figure it out. And like
that's where they have them hidden microphones, like I was telling you, dude. When the salesman walks off,
oh yeah, oh dude,
they're listening to you. Hey man, babe, I really love this timeshare. I really want to do it, but and then he comes like, hey guys,
yeah, dude, I didn't even think about that. About the fact that he probably had a microphone somewhere.
Yeah.
But I just like at one point, like Victoria was like, she was being nice. I was like, let's be respectful. Let's be nice.
Good cop,
like,
bad cop.
You know, value the time and stuff. No, I said, give him one word answers. Don't be rude. But it was really awkward. Like it just was so like awkward questions, awkward answers. And I said, yes, make it awkward.
You made it like a deposition then, huh?
Yeah. It was like, he was like, what do you do for a living? And she's like, engineer. She's like, I'm an engineer. And he's like, what do you do for a living? I said, I work construction. You know, that's all I say, you know, keep it vague, you know, cause you can tell he's got his spiffy little suit and he's all like construction worker. And, you know, that's kind of what he's looking at us like. And, you know, I'm just trying to really just make the guy think. Like I barely said a word in the first half. Victoria was answering all the questions and finally but he would be like, what's your dream vacation? Where do you guys want to go? Like, what do you guys like to do? And, you know, like Victoria mentioned like, oh, we love to scuba dive. He's like, oh, me too. I'm a certified scuba diver. It's like, but then there was some stuff he said. I was like, this guy's so full of shit. He's not a scuba diver, you know? But it just like, we kept doing that stuff. And like, he gets up and walks away and I look at Victoria's like, you are talking way too much. Stop talking so much. And she's like, it's so awkward though. I'm trying to make it less awkward. I said, make it awkward. Make it as awkward as possible. Oh man, it was tough. But I had fun with it. Victoria left kind of pissed after they made a few little like, because at the end they kind of go into like nuclear closeout. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh, well, we have the cheaper program. Maybe you're interested in that. No, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're really not interested.
Yeah.
This is a deal of a lifetime, and you're not taking this.
Yeah.
No, I don't even want to look at it. Let me just go get you a quote. Okay, and then he comes back, and I was like, and maybe he did have a hidden microphone because he's like, let me just come back with this other quote. It's a cheaper option, just so you can look at it. And like Victoria, and I was like. It's like, holy fucking shit. When are we going to be done with this fucking thing? I was like, hopefully he shows us this quote and we're done. And then he comes back and he's like, yeah, so I talked to my sales manager and I've decided, you know, this probably just isn't for you guys. This probably just isn't a good fit at all. So let's just shake hands and go our separate ways. It's like, okay. My strategy was really just to be like a really like quiet, stone wall, kind of a dick. just the dick husband who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Which was true. And then at the very end, just lighten up and just like, yeah, buddy, well, I appreciate your time. You're so cool, man. Well, just like all of a sudden just come to life. Like, but no, as soon as it was done, it was like, whoop, you can follow me to this other person and bye. I was like, all right, cool. Appreciate your time. Yep, thanks, bye. And then he's just like, see ya. I was like, okay.
Did they not try the old fire sales technique that I told you about?
Oh, like the
Hey, James and Victoria, what do you think about Mike here, your salesman? Oh, he's great. Mike was. Mike's been really good for us. But lately he's kind of lagged a little bit on sales. And to be honest with you, tonight's his last. If he doesn't make a sale tonight, to be honest with you, we're gonna have to let Mike go.
No, they didn't hit us with any of that. They did do a survey of like, how would you rate your salesman's like professionalism? How would you rate his knowledge? How would you rate all that? And it was like, whatever. But it was anyways, I sat through my first and hope I as we were leaving. Actually, as we got there, and look, dude, I try not to judge people based on. I do not like to judge a book on its cover. I mean, you can't, especially working in the construction.
But first intuition,
dude,
no matter what it is usually right.
Whenever we walked in the doors and I saw the other people sitting in the lobby waiting to get the same presentation, I looked at Victoria and I said, do not ever book one of these ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, but we knew it was. And she wasn't even interested in the offer, dude. She was interested in the fact that we got a $100 weekend in DC, which was worth it. But I did say, I was like, we are never stooping to this level again.
That walking in there, seeing them outfitted probably in their suits and sneakers, it reminded me of National Lampoon's Vacation. It was the first one when they went to Wally World. And they walk in and they see Wyatt Earp, and Rusty was talking to his dad saying, Dad, he's a shitty Wyatt Earp. He's wearing sneakers, for God's sakes. Guy had on the Wyatt Earp outfit with like tennis shoes. I could just see those salesmen being the same way.
Actually, they were dressed pretty nice. I was surprised. I was expecting some like real cheeseball, like Goodwill suits that didn't fit them right, but they were actually pretty nice suits.
There's a guy named Doug Stanhope, a real famous comedian, and he's all about the leisure suit, Goodwill suits. If you pull up any type of Doug Stanhope, he lives in Arizona now. It's irrelevant. But anyway, all of his suits are the real, just old. That's where he goes, man, and that's his little niche.
One of my favorite. I've got 3 suit jackets, and I probably wear a suit jacket maybe 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Like that's stretching it thin. Like weddings, every now and then, if I like you or if it's a special wedding, I'll throw a suit jacket on. I'm not a suit guy. I'm not a suit guy at all. I do not like to dress up. I don't even like wearing a like if I'm going to work and I'm wearing like a collared golf shirt, I don't even like doing that, dude. I'm a t-shirt guy. And that's what, or a Hawaiian shirt, big on Hawaiian shirts, but, anyways, one of my favorite suits though, it came from an estate sale. So I'm not knocking it.
You ever wear a bolo?
Actually, that's all I wear.
And that's it? Nothing else? Bolo and boots?
Yeah. No suit or anything.
We talked one time about starting a deal, kind of like, you ever heard about, the maids that come and clean people's houses, but they're dressed in their underwear, their skivvies. That's their little niche, or their little,
like a topless maid service or something like that.
We talked about back when I was doing a bunch of roofing, calling our company Speedos and boots. And that's all we'd wear when we were roofing houses. Hope we'd either get the flamboyant ones or get the old housewives, wanting to hire us.
Speedos and boots.
Yeah, dude. That's it. Maybe your nail bag, to hold some coil nails in your hook blade, but that's about it.
I had a friend one time who, when we were probably in like 3rd or 4th grade, and his grandma was watching him, and it was like to go to church. She was real old school, like the church we went to was like jeans and a nice shirt, but she wanted him to wear like slacks. And he goes, and he's still like this, man. He's a good friend of mine. And he goes, Grandma, and I think I was staying the night at his house or something like that. And he goes, Grandma, I'm not wearing slacks. And she goes, yes, you are. That's what you wear to church. And he said, I'd rather wear a bow tie over my goober than wear slacks. That's how I feel, man.
You ever wore a bow tie?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But you have wore a bolo before?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't kidding about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, so I don't even know how to tie a tie. I mean, like, my dad's a lawyer. He wears a tie every day. Never learned how to tie a tie. I think he tried to teach me before. It just never worked out. But whenever I was in like middle school and like first kind of started getting into suits and like high school, I learned how to tie a bow tie. So I can tie a bow tie because I wore those for a long time. And then I discovered bolos and I got big into bolos. I actually really enjoy wearing a bolo every now and then. So I've got one. Victoria actually got me one. I wore one at my wedding that Victoria bought me.
I could see it. That's why, whenever I ask, I can actually see you wearing one.
Yeah. No, it's a great conversation piece because nobody's wearing bolos. So you wear it.
That goes back to what I talk about, making yourself stand apart. Now, granted, it's your wedding. Nobody should be dressing better than you except your wife at the wedding, right?
Yeah.
But that's standing apart.
Well, anywhere, dude. Even at a wedding, like other people's weddings, like I'll wear a bolo and like it's just a good conversation starter. Yeah. Like I have one. So I have that one that Victoria got me, and it's got like our wedding colors were lavender and some other color, blue. I don't fucking remember. Navy, I think. And she got me one with a lavender stone on it, and it's got a navy cord. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. And then my mom and brother made me one. They bought like a hand braided leather, brown leather cord, and then they bought a turquoise stone and then a silver plate and mounted it and everything. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I like bolos a lot, man.
Another conversation piece too, like at a wedding, is walking around with your fly unzipped.
Yeah. I do that at work sometimes. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not on purpose. Yeah.
Well, James.
Yeah. But dude, anymore people don't want to say because they think they're being rude. Like that's how you know who the real ones in your life are, man. That's how you know who the real ones in your life are. If they will tell you if you got shit in your teeth or if your fly's unzipped or anything like that, if you are walking around with barbecue sauce on your face and nobody says anything to you, man, you got to get around some different people.
Or bats in the cave.
Yeah.
You ever heard that one?
Yeah, some bugs.
Yeah.
No, dude, if people can't tell you that, I had that conversation at work the other day. Somebody goes, I know some people find this rude, but you seem like the kind of person that would want to know that you have barbecue on your face. And I was like, yeah, who wouldn't want to know that? They're like, well, some people think it's rude. I was like, that's not fucking rude, man. It's rude to not tell me.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys, we are going to have some new formats on this show coming up. We're still going to have our typical BS like we have right now. I do want to just kind of go over real quick before we get into some of this other stuff that we're talking about. What Dirty and Driven is. Again, I know it's a lot of people say, think it's just a podcast. And that's a big part of what we do is it's a podcast. But also we do help you custom build training programs for your construction company. We work with you personally. We help you figure out your goals. We help you figure out what do you want your company to look like? Where do you want your company to go? How many employees do you have or do you want to have? What kind of heights are you trying to reach? What are your goals? And how many people do you need? What are your labor goals? What are your financial goals? Let's outline all that good stuff. Let's establish some parameters, some core values, which we're going to go over ours here in a second. And let's establish some of that stuff. I think it's important to do all that. But anyways, that's what we do. We do consulting to help you establish core values, help you establish your mission, and to just help you train your people. Everybody's got a skilled workforce shortage right now. Everybody needs people. Everybody's hurting for people. And nobody wants to train people. And I promise you that if you start training people, you will get quality people. You're not going to get a skilled person right off the street. Maybe one here, one there, but they're few and far between. So if you want a good skilled person that's going to be with you for more than 5 or 10 years before they retire, then find a good motivated young person, figure out how to motivate them, train them, and let them be happy and feel free at your company. And that's what we do at Dirty and Driven. We also do group presentations. If you want us to talk to your crews or your committees or your board or something like that, we can discuss all that stuff there. not quite as rude and crude as our podcast. A little more polished and professional.
And I think our zippers will be up during these things.
Yes, we will.
If not, I mean, it will strike a good conversation, or at least get some Snickers.
Or Baby Ruth's. That was a bad joke.
That was easy, man.
That was too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we will do that kind of stuff if you ever have that kind of interest. Also, I just want to talk about our core values. I feel like that's something I talk about a lot is like, hey, you know, I think it's important for a company to have core values. Just had a nose itch if you're watching on camera.
You went for that bat in the cave.
I didn't go for the bat in the cave. I just went for the nose itch, talking about how we're more professional. But I do want to go over this stuff because I think it's important and it really tells you who we are. It's been a while since I've talked about them on the show. So I think it's just important to do. Like I said in the beginning, man, we're here to bring people to the blue collar world and teach them how to kick ass. And this isn't today's topic. I just want to just glance over this stuff just to remind you who we are. And so that way you guys can say, man, I like these guys. I fuck with these guys. I really like what they stand for, who they are. And, you know, I want to ride with these guys and we want to ride with you. And you may say, man, I'm not about it. And just like what the timeshare guy told me before we started that call was maybe we're not the right fit and maybe we just shake hands and part ways. And we will not verbally berate you before we shake hands and part ways like they did to us. Well, we might.
Yeah, people listening, if they're not happy, they can easily just close out the app and do something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's free content, dude. So if you don't like it, then just, fuck off.
No, actually, whenever y'all click on the link and you're listening to us, like right now, you got to stay. You've got to ride the whole episode. You can't get out until you hear our whole episode.
The whole spiel. We are contractually obligated to keep you here.
We're like the timeshare. The
timeshare
podcasters.
Did you ever watch the episode of South Park where they sit through the timeshare meetings?
I can't remember.
And they keep trying to leave and they keep trying to go and then they'll like open a door. They're like, we're getting the hell out of here. And like they're separated from their kids and they won't let them near their kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're getting the hell out of here. And then they open, like they walk out of the room and walk down a hallway and open another door and it just leads them right back into the room they were just in. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. You must have thought we were done.
To sidetrack off of you talking about some really good stuff there, one of the most recent popular South Parks was the Panderverse. Have you seen it or heard about it yet?
I haven't seen a South Park episode in a while.
Genius. So the Panderverse, just a short and skinny on that.
Are you saying panda or
Pander. For people, the pandering people like I follow. Okay. The Walt Disneys of the world pandering to, a certain base of people, everybody doing something. But it's a, whatever you call it, what's the universe? It's the same deal, but it's going on at the same time, but it's like you and me, but in a different
dimensions.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. But the kicker in it is, in this different deal, everybody, and this is actually what we talk about. Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's like they wrote this for us, but everybody who has a college education and a degree in this different day and age, they all are stuck. They all don't have jobs. They don't know how to do shit. But the guy who was rolling in the dough that's very successful is the handyman. So everybody is reliant on the handyman. So if you just think about doctors and lawyers and engineers and all that stuff, if you think about the stereotypical what a handyman is, the normal deal is probably a lower level guy, makes a little bit of money, but think about those roles totally flipped on their head. And it's a great episode, man.
I mean, we'll see that in our lifetime.
Well, then that's kind of what we talk about. I mean, I don't know so much about AI, but just the basic skills to take care of things and fix things, man. There's a lot of people that if they are blue collarish and know a little bit of troubleshooting and shit, they rely on calling people.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, dude. I agree. I mean, I look at the old timeshare salesman, man. I mean, if that guy's plumbing goes out, he ain't fixing it.
Yeah. So
he's calling a lowly plumber, but that plumber's making 5 times as much money as that old boy is selling timeshares. And if the economy dips, you still got to fix shitters. But if the economy dips, dude, I'm not paying $60,000 for your bullshit timeshare.
Yeah. So in the episode, Randy, the dad, He goes, the dishwasher breaks. He goes, God dang it. He goes, all right, kids, come in here. I'm gonna show you how to fix the dishwasher. And the kids, all right, Dad. All right, kids, this is how you fix a dishwasher. He pulls out his phone and he calls the handyman to go take care of it. That's how he fixes the dishwasher. He doesn't do shit to fix it.
That's pretty good, man. Oh, that's a good sidetrack. So anyways,
reel it back in.
Hey, that's actually great because our number one core value, and these are not really in any specific order, they're just the order I have them written down in, they're all equally important, is keep it real. So how's that for reeling it back in? So I'm not going to go into explanation on any of these. I just want to say our core values are keep it real, accept the challenge, be disciplined, quality matters, make a friend, spread joy, always be learning, pass the ball, own your shit, stay humble, and execute.
Yeah, I heard keep it real and own your shit because I was going to say accountable, which 2 or 3 of those words in there all could fall into accountability. And remember, no matter what position we all are in life, we're the ones that got us in those positions. It's nobody else's fault. I mean, there's some things that happen in life, and I ain't hedging, but you're the one that got yourself in this position. No matter what it is, you need to be accountable and get yourself out. You need to own it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, no matter what, dude. I mean, sure, man. We are all dealt a different hand for life. But the beautiful thing is you can play your hand. And you can win with whatever hand you were dealt. And that's what core values are for, right? It's to look at it. So one of the companies that I think, they didn't write the book on core values, but I think that in modern era, they have been one of the top companies to really push this and really show how to do this and what a great company can look like if you do this. Is First Form. And we talk about them a lot. We've had First Form people on the show before. We're big into them. And one thing that a guy that told me there was, he said, man, I look at our core values, and he said, if I feel like I'm slacking in my job, if I'm unmotivated, if I'm just not bringing the fire, if something's off in my life, basically, he goes, I go back to these core values and I look at where I'm slacking. And I can usually say, okay, I need to tighten it up here. Maybe, for example, like be disciplined. That's a big one, dude. Like if I'm not being disciplined in stuff that I do, which is part of the reason why I want to go to 1 episode a week, is because with 2 episodes a week, it's hard to be disciplined and put a show out, a quality show, because quality matters, a quality show 2 times a week, right? And be disciplined not only with the podcast, but also with my personal business and my job and my relationship. And it's hard to be disciplined in all that stuff all at the same time. And so, that's why you got to have that stuff. And sometimes you got to look at it and you got to say, man, I'm not doing that and I'm not keeping my fitness up. But yeah, dude, you can go after all these. And sometimes, I'm not always learning. Sometimes I think I know everything I need to know right now, and that's not right either. And it's hard to own your own shit. And it's hard to be humble sometimes. So that's why, I don't know. I'm not going to just reiterate all the words that I just said, but that's what we're about, man. So if that resonates with you, if that's what you're about, that's what we're about.
Yeah, taking a good look at your business or the situation that you're in, which business-wise, and evaluating your weaknesses. It reminded me, it goes to an Arnold Schwarzenegger deal, talking about back when he was big into bodybuilding. Literally, you could look at yourself in the mirror, strip down, and he would literally look at what the weakest parts of his body are, the parts that didn't stick out. Not stick out, that was wrong. The parts that weren't up to par with everything else. And what would he do? He would still work out everything else, but he would put focus on that lagging part and bring that up to par with everything else. Even if his left lat was smaller than his right lat, or if his tricep or, calves are kind of small compared to the symmetry of his thighs. He'd really focus on that, then bring that up to par with everything else.
Yeah.
And you could do that same, like you're saying, within business, or how you carry yourself, how you attack certain things. Just be give yourself a good, true evaluation of what's going on in your life, and wherever it's lagging, man, try to put a little bit more focus on that and pick that up with everything else.
Dude, it's so relevant how just life gets you anytime you preach this stuff. But like, yeah, man. I mean, for one, I think it's great to double down. Just say what you're doing is I think it's great to double down on certain things. Now, there's sometimes I have weaknesses, and instead of trying to fix some of those weaknesses, if it's something that I can outsource on, like, I mean, for example, I'm not the world's best handyman. I mean, I don't know how to fix MEP stuff. I know how to build roads. I'm really good at that stuff. But when it comes to MEP stuff, I outsource to you. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not focusing on becoming a great handyman. Because
when you think of trash, I want you to think of Akeem. That was Coming to America. Sorry.
Okay.
When you think of P, I want you to think of Casey.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. But it's like that's where, but that's being humble too and saying, man, I don't have the time to learn this. I need to trust somebody else to do this. Right. Yeah. You know, but doubling down on your own strengths sometimes, or saying, what I'm getting at here, man, sometimes you just have to take a hard look in the mirror. Every morning you should look in the mirror and say, am I proud of the person that's looking back at me? And where can I improve? What can I do better? What do I need to do today to be a good person? And, what do I need to correct about things that I did today? You know, the sun's going to rise tomorrow no matter what. So it's worth it to look in the mirror and say, man, where was I wrong today? And then in the morning say, what can I do right today?
Yeah, that also goes to even before you go to bed at night. Not that you had to be analyzing yourself 24/7. There, I'm hedging. But when
that's unhealthy.
But yeah, but when you go to bed at night too, if you can just, literally 5 or 10 seconds, just think, man, did I give, I don't want to say maximum effort, but did I put in a pretty good day for the day that, and 9 times out of 10, you probably didn't. You probably could have done more, but it's still good to analyze yourself.
Yeah. I mean, did you give it your all?
Yeah.
I mean, there's days that you're not going to. I mean, frankly, there's, and I've had a lot of days recently, man, where I've looked in the mirror at night and gone, man, dude, and I have a high standard for myself, right? But I've looked in the mirror and just said, man, you have not been disciplined. You haven't been doing the stuff you need to do. You haven't been getting up early to go to the gym, or you haven't been eating according to the plan. Like you haven't done what is typically expected of you to do. Or, you haven't been a good husband. You haven't been a good employee. You haven't been a good business owner. I mean, there's a lot, it can be a lot of different things. Like where were you faltering? I mean, or were you just a total dick to somebody unintentionally or something like that, The goal is never to be perfect. I mean, I don't think anybody is ever going to be perfect at anything. I look at these core values and you're never going to have them down perfect. It's impossible to have them all 100% all the time. But you can look and have a baseline of what you want in life or in your business and say, why are we falling weak in this area? Oh, okay. Well, here's some parameters that we need to follow, and we're not following, 3 of them. And that's why we're weak in certain areas.
Yeah.
So anyways. Well, yeah, that's just kind of, again, who we are and what we're all about. But we're all about, personal and professional development for the people in the trades, if I can even pronounce those words. Personal and professional development.
Yeah, that was a tongue twister. You might need to reevaluate that saying right there.
That's not a slogan.
Well, don't try it again unless if you did the rubber baby buggy bumpers a bunch of times. And
my mama made me mash my M&Ms. How many Crocs could Kid Rock rock if Kid Rock could rock Crocs?
How many wood-ons could a woodchuck get if a woodchuck could get wood-ons?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, moving on, man. Yeah, dude. So we talked about how I went to DC. Before that, we went to Atlanta.
Atlantis,
the Lost City, dude.
But was it the Atlantis? Where is it? The resort?
The Bahamas.
Yeah. You went to Atlantis?
No, I wish. I've actually been to Atlantis before. I didn't stay there, but
you went to Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And Georgia, the state, not Georgia, the country.
Georgia?
Yeah. Atlanta's a pretty interesting city. It's actually pretty nice. Surprised.
So you went to the largest airport?
Yeah, I've been to the airport. I've flown through there a few times. And I've been to Atlanta whenever I was like 10. Did the World of Coca-Cola and the aquarium. I guess that's what you do there. I don't know. We didn't do it. We didn't do it this time. We did eat a badass barbecue place though. But anyways.
Plus, you moved the All-Star game from Atlanta to Colorado. Baseball All-Star game.
Oh, did it used to be there?
That it was supposed to be there this last year, whenever it was, the year before, but woke hit everything and they moved it.
Oh.
It was a sour deal.
Is it because Georgia's racist or something?
Yeah, so they end up moving it to Colorado. That was even more left than, I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, but while we were in Atlanta, we went partially to visit because Victoria and I are into just seeing random places, random like weekend, 2-3 days in some city or something, just walk around, see what's up, eat some good food kind of stuff. So we went there to do that. And then we also, while we were there, hit up our good friends at Plateau Excavation. Old Aria Morgan said, "What up?" And so we went onto their SK Hyundai job site, which is absolutely breathtaking job site. I mean, it is massive. And we drove around for 2 hours on that job site. And I felt like they were like, "Was there anything specific you want to see before you go?" And I was like, dude, I could be here all day. Like, I could be here all day just looking and watching everything going on here. Cause there was, big equipment everywhere. And it all looks so tiny because it's just everywhere. It just looks like Tonka trucks driving around. We're in our little rental Honda Civic or whatever, the Honda Accord, whatever we were driving through there, like right next to a Cat 773 off-road haul truck, the big ones. Mm-hmm. And it was like, just damn,
So what were they developing there?
So that's the, and it's been, this job's been in the New York Times. It's been in a lot of big national newspapers, magazines and stuff. It's the SK Hyundai battery plant. And so SK, I guess they're the battery company and Hyundai's the car manufacturer. Mm-hmm. So they're building a ginormous lithium battery plant for electric cars. And they moved Plateau Excavation's part of the contract. It's a $4 billion project, the total building and site work, everything. Plateau is moving the dirt. They've already moved the bulk of the dirt, but there's still a lot to go. But he said at their peak, they had 200 machines on that site. Now, there was probably like 50 whenever we were there. I mean, there was still a lot of machines, big machines. But they'd done a lot of it. But still, yeah, I mean, just total yardage they're moving on that side is 14 million cubic yards of dirt.
Is that a lot?
That's a shitload.
Okay.
Yes. That is a lot of dirt. So it was neat to see, man. I mean, just driving around. Then they had the biggest on-site concrete plant I've ever seen with a ton of concrete trucks, more than you'd see at like a local concrete plant. Like you go to the local concrete plant here in town, they have like 10 trucks, which is a pretty good sized ready mix concrete plant, which, ready mix is the spinny trucks, mm-hmm. right? So this one, they had probably 20 trucks just for this one job site. Yeah. Not servicing other places. So it's like, whoa. And then they had iron workers everywhere, more cranes than I'd ever seen in my life in one area. I mean, there had to be at least 50 cranes out there being used by the iron workers and stuff. And it's incredible. They were laying down asphalt while we were there. So I got to see how they do it in Georgia. So that was cool. Love seeing paving in other places. So anyways, man, that was it in a nutshell. Shout out to my boys, Darren and Lane, for showing me around. And Victoria was with us too. We had on our sweet, dirty and driven reflective vests.
There you go. And also shout out to Aria for, the initial conversation.
Yes.
Letting us know.
Well, she set it up, and unfortunately she got tied up, so she couldn't meet us out there, which I was sad about. I wanted to meet her, but, next time, but, it was cool. It was neat. I did want to take some sweet drone shots though, and they were like, maybe not. I was like, can I take pictures of pretty much anything? And they were like, maybe just be discreet about it. Okay.
How are the porta potties?
I actually didn't use the porta potties.
Oh man, you should have given a review on it.
I know.
I mean, because Buc-ee's is known as like the cleanest bathrooms,
Yeah.
right, in travel. I'm just wondering how these porta potties stood up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they had job trailers with bathrooms in them, so it was pretty legit site. A lot of job trailers with bathrooms. Now, I'm sure there were some porta potties, but I did not use one.
Splash.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's something I want to talk about too, the old porta potty campaign.
I wonder, hey, before you get into this, on this rant, I wonder if the job site trailers, since it's on, big construction site, and people are going to go in there and use them, they're still trying to make it kind of authentic to where they still put the blue dye in the toilets when people go into the job site trailers, just in case. That way when they get splashed back, to give them a little remembrance of
the good old days.
Yeah, the porta potties.
Yeah, the good old days. No, dude, what I was going to say is something I want to start seeing more of is I want to start seeing our dirty and driven stickers and more porta potties. And,
yeah, man.
And this is where I myself need to improve. I need to be better about vandalizing porta potties with our stickers.
Oh, and what they can do is, for a good time, listen to the Dirty and Driven. Instead of a phone number, call a phone number.
Yeah.
For a good time, listen to the Dirty and Driven podcast.
Or if it's a call-in episode we're going to do. For a good time call.
From the porta potty.
Pass, dude. I'm not going to do it in the porta potty.
Do a remote.
But next call-in episode, if somebody calls us from the porta potty, I guess that's pretty funny.
That could be our remote setup. If we go somewhere, we'll pull in a trailer with like two porta potties side by side, and you and I do the remote from there, and we're sitting on porta potties talking.
So the other day they had a holiday parade here downtown in front of the studio, and I missed it. I wasn't here in town, but did you see the picture my mom posted?
No.
So there was one trailer. It's a septic company, but they do porta potty rentals and stuff, and they just like drove through and they had a bunch of porta potties on a trailer. Here it is. They had a bunch of porta potties on a trailer. Check it out on the YouTube.
Way. There you
go. And then they just put Christmas lights around the porta potties.
Ah, nice.
Isn't that awesome, dude? Yeah, that's awesome.
Brilliant.
So, anyways, shout out to Plateau Excavation. That was awesome. If anybody has a cool job site that you can get us access to go look at, like just something, it doesn't even have to be massive or anything like that, but if it's just a cool job site and you're like, hey, you should come check this out, hit us up, man. We're down to travel maybe if it makes sense and we can get there. And I'm big on weekend trips to random places, so I know my wife is. I'm sure Casey would be if it was all right. So,
yeah, we need to figure out financially if it's right to go somewhere for $100 to stay the night to listen to, a timeshare deal. But realistically, it took you $2,000 between flights and other hotels and food and travel and all that to go save your money on $100 timeshare to listen to.
Yeah,
it only cost us. It was only $100 then.
Well, Casey, do you want to rent every time you stay at a hotel, or do you want to own?
Man,
when you rent, you're just throwing your money away, but you can own a piece of this hotel chain.
Yeah, they're rubbing off on you, huh?
But anyways, yeah, if you guys got cool job sites, send them to us. Even if we can't get to them, I'd love to see your job sites, your pictures and stuff. We want to talk about more of that kind of stuff on here. So if you have a cool or unique job, or just a big job or whatever, tell us about it. We'd love to hear. But one thing that I want to just talk about, which is kind of our topic today, is there was one guy that I was talking to on that job site with Plateau, and we the asphalt foreman walked up. The asphalt was being laid by C.W. Matthews, which is another just big awesome company. But he walks up and, I mean, this guy's like so fired up. Like, man, I'm gonna get this. Like, he was hilarious. First of all, he gave everybody like a secret handshake to like greet us. Never met the guy, and he's like sitting there doing like pop pop, like the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that he like knew the guy that I was with, the assistant project manager, and then he's like they didn't even know each other. So I was like, oh, that makes it even better. He's just doing this. But like, we're just talking. The guy's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all this covered today because the rain's coming tomorrow. So I'm gonna kick ass and get all this done. Basically, he's like, you guys fuck off, you're in my way, kind of thing. And like, we're driving away and we're in a Gator. And I was like, man, I said, I love asphalt guys. They're so awesome. And he's like, man, that's just everybody in construction. He goes, speaking of keep it real, he's like, man, everybody out here, he said, these are the realest motherfuckers you'll ever meet in your life. And he said, these are the coolest people, not pretentious. And he goes, there's guys out here that have been messed up on drugs and turned their life around. He goes, there's motherfuckers on this job site that have killed people. He's like, there's people who's murdered someone. He said, I bet you there's at least one guy on this whole site that has murdered somebody out here. I was like, damn, dude, I bet you're right. And he goes, yeah, and they're all cool as fuck. It's just an awesome industry for that reason, man. The great melting pot.
Yeah, and there's something about sweating for your dollar too, doing physical labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the older you get, you want to kind of watch doing those laborious jobs, but still, when you're working with your hands or out in the heat and when you're building stuff, man, the sense of accomplishment at the end of the day or the end of the project, man, it's a little different. I mean, it's good to look at spreadsheets, I would assume, and be in your office with your suit and tie, but man, to physically do something with your hands and stuff and sweat, that's where the real people are.
Well, like I look at the job that I was on with Plateau and at their Hyundai plant, and that job started earlier this year, and they've moved a shitload of dirt, and now there's these massive iron buildings up. Like, that takes serious dedication and focus from solid teams and solid leaders leading all those teams. Yep. And a lot of different trades. And like, the people that are running it, the SK Hyundai people, they're all Korean, so you have different cultures, different entities, different languages. There's language barriers, and there's just a lot of different types of people on those job sites. And if you leave for a week and you come back, it's going to look totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rewarding.
I can't imagine the logistics on it too, for everybody to work in harmony with each other to make everything, hopefully not have any pitfalls,
Yeah, stay out of each other's way. But yeah, it's just amazing how all of that works, man. I mean, it is rewarding. And that's why this industry is so great, is because, so the reason also I want to talk about that conversation I had reminded me of it, but, my little brother's 10 years younger than me. So he's 15 going on 16. And he's thinking about like, okay, I got to get a summer job this year. I've got to go work for somebody. I've got to figure it out. I got to make my own money. I have my own gas money. I have my own insurance money, all that kind of stuff, right? Pay for his truck, all that. So he's got to get a good job. And I said, try stuff out, see what you're interested in, see what you like, see what you hate. But there was one job he's interested in, which he'll, probably a top 3 job for him right now of options for him. And it's an HVAC job, which is cool. Nothing wrong with HVAC. And I said, man, that'd be awesome. You could learn a skill, an expensive skill, because you have something, your AC or your heat go out. Just to get a guy to show up is almost $1,000 anymore. Unless you have a good guy like we have, but our guys few and far between. But, and a lot of times they don't do things right. But I was like, man, you go learn some HVAC. Like, that's cool. That's a good practical skill. You're always going to have an air conditioner or heater at your house. And my mom made the comment. She goes, I wouldn't mind him working for that guy, but it's some of the guys that he hires that I don't know if I want him around them. I was like, no, man, you're judging a book by its cover.
Yeah, dude.
You might be sure, and they might be rough around the edges, and they might even be some sketchy dudes. But I said, look, I've worked with some sketchy motherfuckers in my time, and it's part of the experience, and it's part of what makes this industry so great. Those guys, they're smart dudes, and they know what they're doing. And sure, they might have some life problems, but you are going to learn more people skills working in an industry like this than you will in an office setting.
Yeah, he's probably gonna learn a lot more real world stuff too, being around guys like that. Because dude, whenever I started framing at 14 or 15, man, I was working around ex-cons and stuff, and you talking about the dirtiest jokes, languages, this and that. But they were very cool, caring people that I considered my friends. But being, 14 or 15, listening to all of that real BS talk, it wasn't all polished, prim, and proper. It was the real shit.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's great about going into the trades at a young age too is hearing about that stuff, but hearing about these guys' struggles. Because some of those dudes are in the trades because that was the only place that would take them. And some of them have made a great career for themselves in it. Some of them have made a great life out of it. But for some people, it was the last resort. And dude, I worked with a guy before. Now he's a reverend. He's a preacher. He's also, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but I used to work with him. And he was a maintenance guy at an asphalt plant. And he was a reverend at this church south of here, a different town. I don't even remember what town it was now, but at one point in time, he was on FBI's most wanted list.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. He was a drug dealer. Big time drug dealer. Probably the biggest in Oklahoma back in like the 80s, whenever, the cocaine cowboy days and stuff like that. Man, it's just the stories he'd tell.
Escobar?
No. He wasn't
Pablo?
He wasn't Colombian or Hispanic descent at all. But man, he was a big time drug dealer, and just the stories he has, and you learn about the struggles that people have, and like you can learn from like the best mistakes to learn from are other people's mistakes. I've learned a lot from other people saying, dude, don't do this, or I fucked up big doing this, or one time I said this to somebody and it ended bad, or like little things that like you hear about how other people screwed up in life and you go, okay, avoid doing that. All right, got it.
Ideally, you listen to people that you care about, what's coming out of their mouth, and then if they tell you your struggles, ideally you take that in and don't do that. But I've had people, friends, family that we try, hey, dude, just to let you know, man, don't make the same mistakes as us because we did this or that. But then what happens after you tell them? Sure enough, they kind of want to learn on their own. And they do the same shit, which they could have. But you know what I mean?
And you're always going to have that, especially at certain ages.
I tried to tell you.
I done told you, motherfuckers. There is some of that, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to learn every mistake. You're going to have your own mistakes in life.
Yeah.
But like, there's certain things that you can learn from. Like, I love talking to people that are financially and business-wise way ahead of me. And hearing, yeah, man, I could have gotten to this point a lot further if I didn't X. Like, dude, one of the biggest reasons why I started saving money and like getting into real estate and stuff is because I had a boss tell me, yeah, dude, I was an idiot. I worked construction when I was in college and made a shitload of money. And then instead of putting a down payment on a house, I went and bought a Camaro. And he's like, then I was just living in a shitty apartment, but I owned a Camaro, and he's like, I shouldn't have done that, and like, it was like, oh shit, I need to start saving my money. It was like that little 30-second conversation that 360'd it for me,
Yeah, you can hindsight yourself on a lot of shit.
Well, you can hindsight. Yeah. And if you, obviously your hindsights are not going to help you, at least unless you're in that same situation again. But if you tell me like, yeah, dude, I could have blah, 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 but I made this mistake. Not just like, oh, but life fucked me or this happened or, whatever, but like, an actual practical thing. Hopefully you can learn from somebody else's mistakes. Being like, yeah, dude, you might talk to a guy that works in construction or something, and maybe he went to prison for a while for drugs, and it started off with, yeah, whenever I was 16 years old, I went to a party and I smoked weed for the first time. Then I did this and I got with the wrong crowd of people and this is what they looked like. And then you start, you can analyze yourself and say, am I living in that, following in that same path that guy's in? Am I going different? Like, I encourage people to let their kids work in the trades because of that reason, because they're real people. They're not beating around the bush for you. They're keeping it real. And you're going to learn, you're going to see and hear things that maybe you wouldn't always be exposed to, especially if you're from maybe a upper middle class family or something like that, where that's not the norm.
Yeah. And just because someone's served time or been to prison doesn't mean that, they can't come out on the other side. Have you heard of that Eric Spofford guy? Is that his name? Eric Spofford.
That name
He's been on the Andy Frisella podcast, but he went to prison for like 10 or 12 years from slinging drugs at a young age till he got out at 25 or 26. Dude, now he's super successful in the real estate business. I mean, he does hundreds of millions of dollars deals. I mean, he's the shit, man. But if you ever want to listen to somebody that's got a good story and talking about, life isn't over just because you made a mistake and had to go to jail, man, he is the perfect example of, crawling through shit and coming out on the other side smelling like a rose.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think I did listen to him a while back.
He's awesome, man. Follow his page, man.
Yeah. Dude, it's people like that, and you get a lot of those people in the trades.
He's all tatted up. You know what I mean? I mean, he's got the East Coast kind of Brooklyn accent. He's real kind of intimidating by the way he looks, but he is a fucking smart, successful dude.
I've learned from a young age, do not judge a book by its cover. Yeah. I mean, because there's some people that, especially in the construction industry, like I remember there were guys that I worked with my first day laying asphalt, tattoos all over the place, rough, gruff, smoking, swearing, all that stuff. And you're just like, okay. And they end up being the nicest, most genuine people. Yeah. Hardworking. I mean, they'll rip people's ass if they're not working hard. I mean, they set a standard. And like one guy I met, he goes, man, I was in prison for 14 years. And he said, all I had to do was work out and read. And the dude was jacked and he was very, very intelligent and very, very literate. I mean, one of the most book smart people I've ever met, and also just an absolute hard worker because he'd learned the hard way, man. Yeah. So. Well,
those tattoos do. I mean, look at people like Jelly Roll and who's that other dude? Post Malone. I mean, if you ever like listen to them or see them, I mean, just from what I've seen and heard from a bunch of people that are around, and they said they're the most genuine, most loving, best people. They literally give the shirt off their backs, and just because the cover is not the typical everyday person cover, they're good people.
Yeah, dude. Those types of people give you the shirt off their back too, man. That's another reason why I love this industry. Like, sure, people need to learn how to be a little better financially, but also like if a guy's going to the store or something, it's always, hey, who needs something?
Yeah.
Like, we're here for each other. And everybody's got each other's backs. And you have your assholes, right? I mean, you have your people that suck. You have the people that don't cooperate. But you have just the amazing, genuine people that are like, hey, man, we're both doing the same job. It sucks. I've been in your shoes. You've been in my shoes. Like, let's work together on this. Let's not hate each other.
Yeah, and throw that out there too. Still always throw out the, hey man, I'm here for you if you got anything going on. If you ever need to talk about it, dude, I'm here. Yeah. And the reason why I brought that up was I called my buddy Philip today. I talked about him the other day I threw that, I told him that, and he said his mom was going through some stuff. I called him just randomly today just to BS. And when I called him, he was on his way to Ponca because his mom isn't doing good right now. So when this podcast comes out, hopefully she's doing all right. But right there is a perfect example of, he knows I'm there for him, but let the people that you work around too, friends or family, man, let them know, if they need to reach out or talk or need a little bit of help, I don't have $500,000 in the bank, but if it's monetary wise, I'll do what I can to help you. Yeah. If it's food, clothing, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just been able to say that too, man. I mean, telling somebody that and giving them that permission is so important. Dude, one of the coolest things, kind of switching gears a little bit here, we talked about Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago and how important it is to show gratitude to those people around you. Man, we had a few people hit us up and say, man, thanks for the show that you guys do. Like, either it helps me pass the time at work, makes me laugh, it makes me learn, it challenges me to become better, like stuff like that, thanks for that. But dude, there was a lot of great thank yous, but the best one that stood out to me was your boy, and he texted me and he goes, dude, he said, I'm very thankful for your podcast, but not in the way you think. He said, me and Casey, we were always best friends. And it got to the point, he's like, you hit that point in life where you go from talking every day to talking every week to talking every month. Then it's, maybe you call each other on your birthdays. And he's like, now because of the show, he's like, Casey and I talk every day.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. That's badass.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
And he'll text me whenever the podcast comes out, the play-by-play. You know what I mean? It'll be 2 days after you and I record, but it's pretty cool with the play-by-plays, and he'll give his input on it and his take, and I'll give mine, the reasoning, and it's just a cool hang. But like he says, when he's listening, it feels like, that's the closest thing to, being in person, hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what I love about it too, is it does feel like you're in person hanging out. And that's what I want, is I want the listener to feel like they're in this room with us, sitting at the table. Like, and you get people who hit us up on Instagram on the Dirty and Driven page, and they're like, talking to us like we've known each other for years, and that's cool to me, man. Yeah. Even though I know nothing about them, they know a lot about us. It's still cool just to they feel like that, because man, there are people who have very few friends, or they don't talk to their friends, or they don't talk to their family. They're kind of lone wolves. And I mean, for some people, us and whatever other podcasts they listen to are their source of socialization every now and then.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of texting back and forth with that Zach Taylor the other day.
Yeah,
because he posts a lot about trench box safety. Then I'd said something about, I sent him a message saying something about my turtles need trench boxes. So we went on this back and forth quite a while, just had a cool BS conversation. Bullshitting, not that it was BS, we were BSing conversation. And one person that we forgot to thank back during the Thanksgiving kind of thanking all people, I do want to thank Debo, because my buddy Debo, he's been, talking about one of the top listeners and guys that are involved with sharing the show and input and all of that and telling people about us. He's even done stuff where he works, where he's taken some of the Dirty Driven and stuff and kind of taken the same type of concept and applied it to where he works at.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. At a school, man. Taking Dirty and Driven to the schools, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool to see, like him putting that on the bulletin board and stuff.
Well, and he gets it. He's been in there for a long time doing what he's doing, and he understands that pushing this, going to college, everybody must go to college, dude, especially with certain people that he teaches, man. That's not that is literally not the answer. And, he's at least trying to help shine a light that there's other avenues out there besides just being indebted, and probably, who knows if that degree that you do get is going to be worth anything. You'll be like that Panderverse on the South Park.
Yeah.
You have a degree, but you don't know how to fix your, dishwasher.
Yeah, and it's coming to that already, like we said, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I've said it on the show a lot of times, dude. I think that in my lifetime, we will see blue collar jobs worth more than doctors and lawyers. Yeah, because that's where the need is right now. And
we've mentioned that. When you're on a literally a 1 week or a 2 week wait for plumbing or an HVAC or electrician to get out there, it might cost, unless if somebody does come out there, it's going to cost your ass. Well, if there's a 2 or 3 week wait, then there's opportunity right there for somebody else to get in there and make some money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that tells you right there that people are so busy, like, and maybe different areas have different needs and stuff like that, of course. Like, here in our town, dude, you call a plumber, you can't get a plumber for a while. You call an HVAC guy, unless you've got my HVAC guy, you're not getting an HVAC guy for a while.
And I'll tell you what, man, if something breaks, like if it's hot, I love my air conditioning, right? I love it during the heat of the summer.
Oh, yeah.
If it breaks and I get a hold of HVAC guys and it's 2 weeks out for whatever, dude, I need somebody here, man. I understand it's going to cost an arm and a leg, but I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. And that could be with plumbing if your shitter's backed up and it's flowing into your house. well, it's going to be a week. I understand that if they have to drop everything and come out, I'll pay that 3 to 4 times as much. I don't care. I understand that, there's going to be a higher price to pay for someone to get out there and do that.
Dude, and you want to hear something wild? So my friend, a guy that, he does a lot with and for Dirty and Driven, he was telling me the other day, dude, he's literally giving out even fairly high priced bids and telling people, he's a builder. He's not fixing, doing maintenance and stuff like that, but he's telling people, man, I'm a year or 2 years out before I can even start this project, a nice house or an office building or something like that, a big scale project. And he does all his work in house, which is why I even, mess with him. I'm not going to go on my rant about GCs, but they're not always my favorite people. But he does a lot of stuff in house, but he builds fine, high quality stuff, and his price is high, and he knows his price is high, but it's very high quality. And he'll go and give somebody a price and say, man, I'm giving you a price that's a little high, and I'm 2 years out before I can get here. And people will still say, no, I'm nobody else can build it. You do it.
Yeah.
You do it. And that's where I want to be in anything I do.
Yeah.
With Dirty and Driven, if we get to the point where we've got too many training programs going on, and I say, hey, either I would scale or I would say, hey, we just can't take on more right now, then I would want people to say, all right, we'll wait. We want you. You know what I mean? That's the goal, right?
Yeah. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to the converse of that, right?
Yeah.
Not having any work, then having to drop your prices just to hopefully get any type of work.
Yeah. Or being a sleazeball that goes and does the work because somebody's so desperate to have it done, and then you fuck it up. And then now all of a sudden, Aunt Sherry's on the Facebook community watch page complaining about you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, dude.
I love putting that old popcorn meme out there because it's getting ready to get interesting with all the comments.
Dude, my favorite one is there's a guy that he's pulling like a radio flyer wagon, and it's got a bunch of chairs bungee strapped to it. And it's I brought chairs for everybody here just for the comments.
You've seen the one where the GIF or the GIF where the guy walks out and he's got on the shades, but he takes the lawn chair and
he flips it. Yeah.
Yeah, he flips because he's getting ready to sit down and see what's going on.
Dude, I will never get into arguments on Facebook, but I'll read them. I'm not going to sit here and preach like I'm better than anybody. I will read those arguments. They're so entertaining.
Sometimes it's good to get in and get out, throw a little zinger and then just let it marinate.
I've defended friends before, not to stir anything up, but just to be hey, if I see somebody, what was it? I had every now and then I'll see someone on there that they're kind of dissing an industry, if they're saying, man, there's not a single good electrician in town, blah, blah, blah. I've been fucked over by this person, that person. I've got my buddy. I'll be call Bill Powell. You know what I mean? Call this guy. Or, I need somebody to do this or do that. We'll call, I know a lot of dirt guys, that they'll say, who can come and pave me a big, or not pave, but, cut me a gravel driveway and spread the rock and all that. And here's some people, I'll do that. I'll plug people. But if it's somebody complaining about the 10th car wash they're building in town or something like that, then I just like to read the comments.
I still always like the ones that, I need a plumber. I need him ASAP. I need somebody who's super duper good, but really cheap. It's dude, you can't have that.
No, you don't get somebody today and really good and really cheap.
Yeah.
Again, the only caveat to that is our HVAC guy. He's kind of all those things. He's the only one that I've ever found, though.
I hate to tell him, but I think I've told him a few times, hey, man, you need to bump your prices up a little bit, dude.
I think he started to a little bit, which I'm glad about.
But not with me, but
not with me,
everybody else.
No, I think he does sometimes. But yeah, he's a good one. But no, yeah, they always say in construction, fast, cheap, or efficient, or quality, I guess. Fast, cheap, or quality. Pick two, and that's what you get in construction.
So that's kind of like the old fire triangle, ain't it?
I guess.
You ever heard of the fire triangle? You haven't?
Uh-uh.
You need 3 things for a fire to happen. It's called the fire triangle.
Oh, yeah. fuel, oxygen,
and an ignition source.
An ignition source.
If you take away one of those and you don't have a fire, that's the same as you're fast, cheap, and whatever. Whatever
quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fast, cheap, or good quality. Pick two. And that's about how it is, you know. I mean, because there's guys that, like I said, you know, my buddy who's building stuff. I mean, now I know guys that are good quality and they are fast, but dude, you're paying for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just how it is.
That's life, son.
That's life, son. Yeah. You don't get I need a good quality plumber, and I need him to come right now and get it done. But also, like, I don't want to pay anything.
Just reminded me of a guy I talked to the other day, dude. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Oh, it was good shit. Literally.
That's a good one, man.
Literally.
Well, shit, man.
We've been going for a bit, haven't we?
We're going about an hour 15. You had a story you wanted to tell. This was one of the infamous stories from one of our episodes that never were. From one of our just times that we just decided to hang out with microphones around us, and for whatever reason they didn't record.
Yeah, whenever I left both times.
Yeah.
You pretty much texted me saying, dude. Yeah, I'll try to make this a shorter story, but
this was a long time ago too. Like, I feel like every episode we've talked about like how shitty we are at production and stuff, but this was actually like from a year ago.
Yeah,
our production has not been shitty today.
Yeah, right out about a year ago, we were BSing and I went on a Yahoo rabbit hole one day, and it was guys who were scuba diving in like swift current rivers, but they were going down and they were finding relics to where people whose rafts had been knocked over, and you know, they lost iPhones and jewelry and this and that, and it was kind of a cool little treasure hunt deal. Well, that treasure hunt went from those videos to these guys that were going in magnet fishing. And you've heard of magnet fishing, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple of the fishing magnets.
Okay. Well, so anybody who doesn't know what magnet fishing is, you pretty much take a high-powered magnet, you put it on the end of a rope, and you pretty much throw it out into the water, and anything that, you know, is ferrous. Is that right? Ferrous? Non-ferrous? Yeah, ferrous. Anything that's metal or steel, the magnet will, you know, pretty much pull it up. You know, so with that being said, I got online, got on Amazon, and I found me a like 1,100 pound pulling neodyne or neodymium, whatever it's called, magnet.
Yeah.
Bought that. I bought 2 of them and had a couple ropes. And I told my little man, I was like, hey, dude, we're going to go magnet fishing. He's like, okay. So we end up going out. I hadn't done this ever, you know, and anybody that magnet fishes, a lot of times they'll pull up like needle nose pliers or angle iron, and sometimes lawn chairs that aren't aluminum, that, you know, have somewhat steel in them. They'll pull up all types of shit out of the water. You never know what you're going to get. You know,
the only thing I've caught is like magnetic rocks, and then just like random little
I mean, you'll literally pull up with these you can do this with any magnets. You'll literally pull up iron out of the ground. I mean, it's one of those deals. You'll pull up dirt with a little bit of iron. You know what I mean? Just like real, like a trace amounts. That's how powerful these fuckers are, right?
Oh, so is that what it is? Like if you dip it in the lake or something and it comes up with a bunch of rocks, is that kind of what
yeah, I mean, I'm not a whatever geologist or whatever, but literally there's the dirt that comes up isn't going to stick to the magnet just because it's dirt.
Right.
The dry dirt, it's got some type of, you know, iron in it of some sort, right? At least that's my take on it.
That's your...
Yeah,
that's your bro science?
My 80-20 stuff. So anyway, I get this magnet, and I told the little man, hey, dude, we're going to go magnet fishing. All right. So we end up going out to Ponca Lake, which that's obviously a lake just right here by town. I go over to a place called Windmill Cove, and I go to the dock on it. And all you do is, like, if you're fortunate enough to be on a dock, you'll pretty much just lower the magnet straight down on the edge of the dock. And this is just a flat magnet. They have different types, but this is just a flat one to where I have to lower it straight down. Then I'll pick it up and I'll go over about 6 inches and lower it down, and I'll pick it up about 6 and just kind of just do that all the way around. I don't throw it out. And sure enough,
now that was only about 2 inches that you did right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So sure enough, I go to this first dock, and I literally got like a pair of needle nose pliers. I think I got some toenail clippers, because a lot of times guys use that for fishing, you know, to cut your line, you know, your leaders off your, you know, when you tie knots and shit.
Yeah.
And so I found a couple things. I found a couple pieces of angle iron that came up. It was old rusty shit. It was a couple heavy ones too. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So it was cold out that day. So we ended up loading up in the truck, and I said, hey, let's go over to, it was on the private side of the lake. Let's go over to whatever it's called right there, the main dock where people put in. Mm-hmm. So me and the little man went over there, and he's screwing off, throwing rocks in the water, which I don't care because we're not fishing, so he can throw all the rocks in the water that he wants, right? So we go to this other dock, and I've literally, from the first spot was 15 minutes. This is the first time I've ever done any type of magnet fishing. 15 minutes at the first spot. I went to the other spot, and I start doing that. Start going, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, over. And I kind of make a turn right around the edge of the dock. And right when I do, I felt a clunk kind of at the end of my rope. And I told the little man, I said, dude, hey, I got something. And,
fish on!
Yeah, fish on, man. So luckily I was able to land the fish and pull it in. Well, whenever I pulled it up and I looked at it, I hadn't even fathomed getting some. The thought process hadn't even crossed my mind that I would get something like this. It was literally the needle in the haystack, the biggest find that you could pretty much find. It's not gold, right? Not gold or silver, but it was the biggest catch that you could catch ever fishing. And you know the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. And what I ended up getting was a compact size Glock handgun.
I was going to guess a metal dildo.
Yeah, that's the second best thing that you can get. So, it's literally a handgun that was still in its holster that I pulled up. And
like somebody was getting on their boat and
it fell out.
Snagged or something.
It fell out. Yeah. Dude, this is a combined, the total time I've ever put into magnet fishing I was probably at 20 minutes total ever. And I find the biggest needle in the haystack that you could ever find within 20 minutes. I mean, I haven't been much out since, but I'm not saying I can't do that, can't do as good as that again, but it's almost like, you won the world, you know what I mean? You scored the touchdown and the game.
You won the Super Bowl in the first season.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I look at it and I told Bugs, my grandson, I said, dude, look at this. I go, do you know what this is? And he's like, nah. And I made sure I didn't point it at him either, right? That seriously was my concern, right? Mm-hmm. I said, dude, this is a gun, dude. Holy, dude. So I ended up getting it off the magnet, and I've got pictures I'm getting ready to show you here in a sec. Actually, I'll just pull them up right now. I got it queued up ready. So
be sure to be watching on YouTube.
Yeah. So right when I initially got it, which you'll be able to see. The magnet is on whatever side that is, but you can see the dirt, the holster's there, but you can see the pistol part. See
I see. Yeah. Your finger was,
part?
yeah.
That's the handle part there, and I had him
right there.
He's holding his hands like he's holding his hands like he's shooting a gun. So here's a picture of the Glock outside of its holster.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that's not even that old. Doesn't look that old.
And here's a picture of, this should have been the second picture I showed. Describe that.
Oh, yeah, the gun in the holster there. Yeah, so now it's like the clip and the belt clip and stuff like that, the magnet on it.
So, dude, I mean, I got the needle in the haystack, dude, within 20 minutes of ever doing this crap ever.
Yeah.
And so now it's time for a learning lesson. What's the right thing to do, right? What's the right thing? And it was a learning lesson. Not only I knew what to do, but I did the old brainstorm with him. I go, crap. I go, this is all. I go, you know what we need to do now? He goes, keep it. I go, well, hold on. I go, the first thing we need to do is we need to call the cops. We need to call the police department, have them come out. We're not going to get in trouble, are we? I go, no, it's not that. Let's let them know what we found. Let them do what they got to do a background check. And if everything's cool, we'll probably end up getting to keep it, but let's at least do that. So we did. We called the police station and they sent somebody out, and I gave them the backstory. Hey, we were magnet fishing, got this handgun here. We want to make sure that whether somebody claims it or if it wasn't used in a crime or anything. I don't know the process, but y'all do what you need to do.
I mean, because pulling it out of the water, you never know. Like,
Dude,
they could have robbed
yeah.
a bank and hid the firearm.
Yeah, you never know. So the process is when I gave it to them, they run it. It's like not NCIS, but it's some type of national something database to see if that gun has been used in a crime. You know what I mean? Or it's one of those deals. So the deal was they took it, they put it in a plastic bag, and they said, we're going to run back. We'll let you know later on this afternoon, if it comes back being used in, a crime or something. But if not, we're going to hold it for 180 days. And if nobody claims it after 180 days, which is 6 months, then it's yours. It's like, cool. So sure enough, they left. They called back a few hours later. They said, good news. It hasn't been reported, in a crime, but we're going to have a hold. You can get it in June, because this was like in December. All right, cool. So I hadn't had a chance to, when I pulled the gun out of the water, it was preserved pretty good in the water, right? But when they took it for 6 months and put it in a locker inside of its little brown paper bag and stuff, with its little stuff sealed on it, it's out of its preserving elements. And now it's getting oxidized and rusted and this and that. So after 6 months, when I got it back, I had to do some cleaning up on it, but the springs and this and that, it all was kind of rusted apart. So needless to say, man, I got that Glock from magnet fishing.
Do you have a picture of it now that is all rusted out?
I've got it somewhere. It's somewhere in my phone. Maybe one of these next times I'll pull it out.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I think you showed me a picture last time.
Yeah.
Like, is it beyond repair?
No. So that's the deal. So I've told this story to a few people, and this shows you how slowpoke I am with shit. They said there are literally stories. If you send that, and I might want to do it. If you send it in to Glock, and especially tell the little backstory to it, like how you came across it and stuff, it's been known that they'll take guns that are almost, not beyond repair, but they'll rebuild them and stuff for you. And there's stories to where they've built them for free and given them back to somebody. But they've like written kind of stories on
that's
process of it.
Wow.
So I need to just shit or get off the pot. I just need to do that, send it in.
Yeah, that'd be worth the story. So I wonder what would have happened like if you took that and like put it into like a big Ziploc bag and like vacuum sealed it essentially.
That would have preserved it a hell of a lot better than
what it was. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
if it's underwater, it's lack of oxygen or whatever. So I mean, it'll still rust underwater, obviously, or get shit growing on it. But once you bring it up, especially since it's fresh water, not salt water, but once you bring it up, it hits the oxygen and it oxidizes and
so
it starts.
all the springs were shit. Like the spring in the magazine was toast, right? The springs inside of the gun.
Was it loaded when you found it?
No, there wasn't one in the chamber. There definitely wasn't one in the chamber. But
was the magazine full, or do you remember?
I don't think there were any bullets in the magazine. None.
Oh, interesting. None. What's the point of carrying a gun?
Well, I don't think.
Okay.
80-20.
80-20.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a neat story, man. I think that's really cool. And you're speaking about like sending it in. So something I did in middle school was I used to go to this Boy Scout camp called Trappers, and it was basically a big swap meet. It was a garage sale for like teenage boys. Essentially, it was fucking awesome. And you'd all sit there and you'd trade stuff. Like you weren't supposed to like buy and sell and stuff,
right.
but like I still was under the table because that's just how I am, man. Always wheeling and dealing. But you'd trade for whatever. Well, the first year I went, I was like, man, okay. I went to this cheap little wholesaler store and bought a bunch of cheap knives and stuff to take. And I ended up trading for a broken Leatherman knife. I mean,
really?
Yes. So it wasn't nice. It was just a broken Leatherman. Well, what I did is I found out Leatherman has like the super awesome warranty, like killer warranty. Like if you have a Leatherman knife and it breaks, send it in. They will fix it or replace it. So I send it to them and I just say, hey, I had this knife, I was fishing and I had a pin that fell out so all the tools wouldn't stay in there or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Well, it was pretty old and they just sent me a brand spanking new one that I probably traded a cheap ass $5 knife for and got a brand new Leatherman from it.
No, dude, that's awesome.
And my brother, now he's 15 and so he's done that. he's done that before too. He went to that same camp out a couple of years ago and did the same thing. He got a beat up old Leatherman, and I wouldn't do it now, but like back then at that age, it was pretty cool to do.
That sounds kind of like the red paperclip story.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people do the whole red paperclip thing there. You know, it's fun, but yeah, I wouldn't do that now because like I'm all about what goes around comes around. So if you're sitting there doing that, eventually in business or in life, somebody's gonna do the same thing to you.
Oh yeah.
So you know, taking advantage of your generosity or whatever, but you know, when you're 14 and you don't know any better, you're just like, hell yeah, dude, let's send it off and get a free new knife.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm due for a little screw-ins for maybe times that I've kind of fudged the system a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Haven't we all?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I deserve it.
Yeah. Well, man, I think we're pretty close to a good old wrapping place here.
Yeah, dude. It's that time.
It's that time. It's almost 7:30 p.m. I've been up since 3 a.m. I'm ready to go to bed, dude.
I text my wife, 7 o'clock, 7:15. Okay, 7:30. Now it's already 7.
Well, and that is one thing I want to point out too on this new format. I mean, we'll probably still try to keep it around an hour and a half or so, but this will be whatever we feel like. So, guys, a lot of you did say some great feedback whenever we put out our poll, and we appreciate that. So we're going to be doing and trying a lot of new different things. Like I said, if you have any cool construction news that you want to send us, that you want us to read about or see, we're going to do that. We're going to be doing a lot of new different segments and fun stuff. I just want to encourage you to never judge a book by its cover, to know that we work in an industry of the greatest people ever, no matter what they look like or where they come from. Learn from their mistakes. And also, thanks again to Plateau Excavation for the awesome site visit. Hopefully, I'm hoping this upcoming year, 2024, really my goal is to get to more job sites and see more stuff and shake more hands and meet more people in our industry in other states and other cities and stuff like that. So, again, if you have a cool job site, send it our way. We'd love to just get out there and see it and take some pictures and get to know you, meet you, stuff like that. So, in that regards, guys, don't attend any timeshare meetings. They're a waste of time and really not worth the payout. Take it from me. They're just trying to rip you off. Even if you think you're going to rip them off by going to the meeting and saying no, you're still getting ripped off and you're still wasting 2 hours of your time. So,
yeah, and also get you if you want cheap entertainment, go get you one of them strong magnets. You can get them on Amazon or any place like that. It's cheap entertainment, and you're pretty much cleaning out trash out of lakes and stuff too. So
yeah, and if you are encouraged to start a Speedos and boots construction business, don't send us any pictures.
I think, yeah, we are franchising out. So if y'all are starting your own Speedos and boots, we'll.
Are they leather Speedos, like a loincloth, or is it like leopard Speedos?
No, it's got a spot for the elephant trunk.
Banana hammocks and boots. All right, guys. Have an awesome week, guys. And as always, look yourself in the mirror every single day and say, am I doing enough today? Am I being a good person? Am I contributing to society? There's always room to improve. There's always room to do something else. So stay disciplined. Do something hard today.
Bye, guys.